The clock on his phone read 8:42 a.m. Jonathan's interview started in 18 minutes. His suit was crisp, his portfolio ready, his future hanging on, making it through downtown Atlanta traffic. This wasn't just any job. It was Titan Industries. The kind of opportunity that could change everything for a recent Georgia Tech graduate. Then he saw the old man, stooped over, struggling with a jack, a Rolls-Royce Phantom listing sadly on a flat tire. Morning rush hour on Peachtree Street, whipping past the $250,000 car. The man's hands shook as he tried to position the jack, his expensive suit getting soaked in the steady Georgia rain. Jonathan's turn was coming up. The corporate plaza where his dream job waited was right there. He could make it if he drove past. He could justify it. He'd worked so hard for this moment. He didn't even signal. Just pulled his Honda Civic over, threw his hazards on, and stepped out into the downpour. "Let me help you with that, sir." He had no idea the old man held his entire future in his hands, and not in the way Jonathan expected. The rain had started just as Jonathan left his apartment in Decatur. Bad omen, his mother would have said. But he'd pressed his suit anyway, rehearsed his answers, prayed this would be the one that ended 3 months of unemployment since graduating with honors from Georgia Tech. The old man looked up, rain dripping from his Braves cap. "I've got it, son. Don't want you ruining your suit." Jonathan was already rolling up his sleeves. "It'll clean. You shouldn't be doing this in Atlanta traffic." He noticed the man's expensive leather shoes sinking into the muddy shoulder. He took the jack, positioned it properly. His hands moved with practiced ease. Years of helping his father at the family auto shop in College Park had taught him more than just mechanics. He'd learned to recognize quality, and this Rolls-Royce was the real deal. "Big interview?" the man asked, watching Jonathan work with an appraising eye. "Titan Industries. 9 o'clock. Jonathan grunted as he loosened the stubborn lug nuts. Was, anyway. The man's eyes sharpened. "You're Jonathan Wilson?" Jonathan paused, wrench in hand. "How did you know?" "The portfolio." The man pointed to Jonathan's leather case on the passenger seat. "Saw your name when you got out. Impressive reaction time, by the way." Jonathan went back to work, his mind racing. "Well, Mr. Titan Industries will have to find someone else. Can't leave a senior stranded in the rain." He made quick work of the flat, his movements efficient and sure. The tire came off. Jonathan positioned the spare. His phone buzzed in his pocket, probably the HR manager wondering where he was. He ignored it. The old man watched him, silent now, studying him with an intensity that felt different from mere gratitude. Back in his car, soaked and defeated, Jonathan called Titan Industries. Water dripped from his hair onto his phone screen. "I'm so sorry. There was an emergency. I helped." "Mr. Wilson?" The HR manager's voice held a strange note. "Can you come in at 10:30 instead?" Jonathan stared at his phone. "But I thought I'm already late and my suit, Mr. Thorne's personal request?" "Can you make it?" He looked at his ruined suit, his wet hair, his muddy shoes. Yes, of course. The drive to the Buckhead high-rise felt surreal. Jonathan tried to clean up in the car, but he still looked like he'd been through a storm when he walked into the gleaming lobby at 10:28. The receptionist smiled, a knowing look that confused him. "Mr. Thorne will see you directly, not the HR manager." The CEO, the office door opened. The old man from Peachtree Street stood there dry now, wearing a tailored suit that probably cost more than Jonathan's Honda. "Mr. Wilson." His eyes crinkled at the corners. "We have much to discuss. The interview wasn't an interview." "Not really." "I watched you for 5 minutes before you stopped," Mr. Thorne said, pouring coffee from a silver service. "You saw me struggling. You checked your clock. I saw the conflict on your face, the battle between ambition and compassion." Jonathan's heart sank. "I'm sorry I was late." "Don't be." Thorne pushed a thick file across the desk. "That's why you're here." The file contained Jonathan's resume and much more. Photographs of him changing the tire on the Rolls-Royce. Records of his volunteer work at the Boys and Girls Club. Documentation of his youth basketball coaching in Southwest Atlanta. "We've been watching you, Jonathan." "Not stalking," he added quickly at Jonathan's expression. "Due diligence. That community program you ran, secretly funded by our foundation." Jonathan's mind raced. "The Atlanta Youth Build Initiative?" "But that was..." Your current interview was for a junior analyst position. Thorne leaned forward, his eyes serious. I'm offering you something else. Director of Community Relations, starting today. Triple the salary. The HR manager looked stunned when Thorne announced the decision in the executive conference room. Sir, with all due respect, he has no management experience. He has exactly the experience we need, Thorne cut him off. He understands that sometimes the most important appointment isn't on your calendar. That character isn't something you teach in business school. Later, over lunch in the executive dining room with its panoramic views of Atlanta, Thorne explained further. 20 years ago, someone stopped to help me change a tire on I-85 during a thunderstorm, gave me a ride to a meeting that made my career. He looked at Jonathan with something that looked like paternal pride. I've been looking for the right person to pay that forward to ever since. Jonathan's first week was a whirlwind of meetings with department heads, budget reviews, and strategy sessions. He worked late every night, determined to prove he belonged. His first major proposal, expanding the youth program to include automotive training and certification, passed the board unanimously. Your father would be proud, his mother said when he told her, her voice thick with emotion. At the end of the month, Jonathan found Thorne in his office late one evening, staring at a photograph of a young man in a college graduation gown. My son, Michael, Thorne said quietly. He would have been about your age. Car accident on 285 during his senior year at Georgia Tech. Jonathan finally understood. This wasn't just about a flat tire. It was about healing, about second chances, about finding meaning in loss. 6 months later, the first 15 graduates of the Jonathan Wilson Automotive Training Program stood beaming for photographs in the Titan Industries lobby. Dozens of young Atlantans now had marketable skills, living-wage jobs, and real hope for their futures. Thorne watched from the back of the room, his eyes shining with unspoken emotion. Jonathan still kept his father's old toolbox in his corner office. A reminder that some of the most valuable skills couldn't be taught in business school: integrity, compassion, and the willingness to get your hands dirty when necessary. His phone buzzed constantly now. Meetings with city officials, decisions about program expansion, responsibilities that would have terrified him 6 months earlier. But he never rushed past someone in need, never forgot the moment that changed everything. One rainy morning, he saw a young man in a cheap suit struggling with a flat tire on a beat-up sedan outside the Titan building. Jonathan didn't hesitate, didn't check his watch. "Let me help you with that," he said, kneeling on the wet pavement. As he worked, the young man fretted about being late for an interview at a shipping company. "Don't worry," Jonathan said, tightening the last lug nut with practiced ease. "Some things are more important than being on time. Character always shows up first." He handed the flustered young man his business card. "Clean up and come see me when you're done. We're always looking for people who understand what really matters." The circle continued, not because of karma or cosmic justice, but because one man's character had shown another what true value looked like, that the measure of a person wasn't in their resume, but in their choices when nobody was watching. And Jonathan knew, as he watched the young man drive away, hope replacing the panic in his eyes, that this was only the beginning of a legacy that would stretch far beyond any corporate title or corner office. If you like this story, please hit subscribe. Thanks for watching.